I'm Laurie Jones, President of the Board of Directors at Theater Off the Square. We are so happy to be here tonight. It is our first time to do this, and we're just thrilled. We are a small community theater in Weatherford, which is about 30 miles west of Fort Worth. We're a nonprofit community theater. We're all volunteer, and we're just like a big family, so we're thrilled to be here. This is a very poignant story, as the actors will show you today. It is set in Russia, so you will hear Russian accents from all of our actors today. So I would like to have you listen to our actors' names and who they are playing, so we'll begin with Dana.
My name is Dana Powers, and I'm playing Yelena Levchenko.
My name is Kate Cowling, and I will be playing Katya Petrova.
My name is Mackenzie Ayon, and I will be playing Anya Drozdova.
My name is Michelle Newman, and I'll be playing Lyudmila Rostakova.
My name is Kaley Powers, and I'll be playing Galina Vosnishinsky.
My name is Nick Braswell, and I will be playing male 1 Volkov, Galina's guard interrogator.
I'm Christian Lopez. I'm playing male 2, Dimitri, and interrogator for Yelena.
Hi, my name is Garrett Tucker. I am playing male 3, Sokolov, and Agent Kostakov.
Hi, I'm Mark Gillies. I'm playing interrogator, male number 4, interrogator, and NKVD agent, I believe.
And I will be reading the stage directions. This is The Diary of Anya Drozdova by Phil Darg. Scene 1, September 1940. The setting is the interior of a barracks in a Soviet corrective labor camp in September 1940. However, the setting shifts frequently to other locations as well, i.e. prison cells, interrogation rooms, the camp compound, outdoor work areas, etc. The barracks interior is a dingy, rustic building whose walls are made mostly of wooden planks. Within the barracks interior, there are 5 rough bunks, a wooden table, and 2 chairs. As the play begins, the stage remains immersed in darkness. There is a brief silence, and then the voice of Anya is heard.
Nighttime, just before I fall asleep, or sometimes early morning, before the rest are awake, it's the best time of the day, because it's my time. I'd write in my diary if I could, but I can't. Instead, I can only compose my words, not write them. Dear Diary, September, not sure what day, but September 1940. It's dark in here. Sometimes some light shines through the cracks in the barrack walls, but otherwise, it's dark and quiet. The rest, they're so tired. At night, they fall asleep almost immediately.
The lights slowly come up to afford a dim view of the stage. Anya is awake in her bunk, while the other women, Katya, Galina, Lyudmila, and Yelena, lie sleeping in their bunks near her.
But not me, because this is my time. All day long, I follow the rules, struggle with the work, retch on their lousy food, but not now. It's my time, and no one can threaten me or tell me what to do. Everything I think here now is mine. And it's so beautiful to have something that's all my own, even if it's only what one can think. I've been here almost 3 months now. I remember how shocking it was to arrive here, even though my arrest and interrogation was horrendous. In fact, after they had arrested me, I thought there was nothing else they could do to me that could be worse. I was wrong.
Roll call every morning is mandatory.
At least in prisons, they never make you stand at attention.
You'll meet your daily work quota or your rations will be cut.
And there's no labor.
Possession of tools, weapons, books, forbidden. Any violations will be punished.
It's boring as hell, and the food's rotten, but...
Failure to report the violations of others is punishable as well.
At least they don't work you like a slave. Take your clothes.
Only standard issued dress is allowed. Personal clothing and items are forbidden.
Or threaten to kill you.
Outside the camp gates, Any step away from the prescribed path will be considered an attempt to escape, and the guards will shoot.
Here, that's not the case. I'm not sure what to think of my bunkmates. Sometimes they seem to be the only friends I've ever known. At other times I hate them. They're all so different. Even though we're here, we're all the same. Zechkas. Female inmates of the main administration of corrective labor camps. The Gulag.
Anya drifts off to sleep and the lights slowly come up further to daybreak. Anya and the other women start to waken. Galina straightens her blanket, combs her hair with her fingers, and brushes off her tunic with her hand.
Why bother doing that?
Cleanliness is next to godliness.
Then I must be close to the devil.
No, we're all God's children.
Galina. She's the kindest, probably because she's religious.
Maybe I'm God's bastard. That would explain a lot.
Katya, the hardest, like a rock. Nothing penetrates her.
Please, Galina, no more religious nonsense. Not today.
Ludmila, sentenced to 5 years, but still a communist ideologue at heart.
At least she offers some comfort.
She turns and almost walks into Galina.
Get out of my way!
Yelena, I'm not saying she's difficult, but...
All you do is order us around.
She thinks she orders us around.
We'll keep the barracks neat because that's what we're supposed to do.
It's too early for you to play commissaire, Ludmila.
Yes, you're not in charge.
Aren't I? Who else is going to keep us in line?
Listen to her. Still trying to indoctrinate the masses.
We're supposed to follow the rules. Everything we do here is required by the state.
Attention, Zechkas. Commissar Prostokova will now explain the finer points of Marxist ideology to the proletariat.
Following the camp rules, it's our duty now.
Oh, yes. We wouldn't want to contradict the glorious Soviet state.
Such disrespect. You deserve your sentence.
Yes, I do. And so do you.
No, not me. Unlike you, I am loyal to the Communist Party and Comrade Stalin.
Back, no more!
Don't fight. It displeases God.
Galina's also the gentlest.
You think God cares about us?
Yes. Not one bird can fall from the sky without your father knowing of it. The very hairs on your head are numbered. So do not fear. You are certainly worth more than a bird.
Who said that?
Jesus?
You can pray to God all you want, Galina. You're really just talking to yourself.
No, I'm not. And I'll keep spreading the word. I care about you. So does God.
Enough already!
I know you don't like to hear it, but I'm just trying to save your soul.
Galina's so honest, not an ounce of deception. That's why she's here.
The lights shift and Galina's interrogator enters with a chair and a paper file. He sets the chair down and then beckons to Galina, who sees him, approaches him, and then sits in the chair. Anya watches the following interaction, but Katya, Yelena, and Ludmila pay no attention to it.
I've heard enough about your job for now. Let's talk about something else.
But, Comrade Inspector, I still don't know why I'm here.
Just tell me more about yourself, about your religion, perhaps.
I believe in Jesus Christ. I'm a Christian.
Don't you know that religion is opiate of the people? Medieval superstition.
I believe in God. I know the government disapproves, but...
Why do you insist on holding on to old Tsarist ways?
It's not Tsarist. I'm not Orthodox Christian.
I know. You're Baptist.
Yes, there are quite a few of us in the Ukraine.
You're from Ukraine.
Originally, yes.
I know that too. You came to Moscow 5 years ago in 1933.
Yes, that's right.
Why did you come here then?
I don't understand.
Why then? Why 1933?
We didn't have much choice.
What do you mean? Why?
The famine, it was very bad.
Famine?
Many people were starving.
I don't remember hearing about famine in the Ukraine in 1933.
There was. It was awful. It lasted for months. The commissaires took almost all of the grain and livestock. They wouldn't release any of it to the people.
Lies! You're lying.
No, it's the truth. They were trying to enforce collectivization.
Of course, they were liquidating the kulaks, the blood-sucking wealthy landowners.
No, not just kulaks. Everyone. Peasants, townspeople.
Lies! Counter-revolutionary propaganda! You're slandering the Soviet state.
The farmers there lost everything. There was hardly anything to eat for anyone.
I've heard enough. Galina Bonashevsky, you are in violation of Article 58 of Soviet Constitution, counter-revolutionary propaganda.
I'm just telling the truth.
And that was her crime. She got 5 years in a labor camp. This labor camp.
The lights shift. The interrogator exits with the chair as Galina joins the group. Yelena is sitting at the table and seems to be etching something into the table's surface with her thumbnail. Katya watches her.
How's it coming?
Slow. I almost have the outer square done, though.
That's good. Pretty straight.
The hard part will be making all the squares on the inside equal.
Are you still working on that?
Yes?
What a waste of labor.
It will be fun. We can all play when it's finished.
I don't want to play chess. Not with you, anyway.
Then play with Galina.
I don't know how to play.
We'll teach you. Everyone just needs to save some bread to make the pieces.
I'm going to eat my bread. Thank you very much.
With 5 of us, we'll just need to make a few pieces each.
How many?
32 pieces divided by 5.
Divided by 4.
About 6 or 7 each.
You can make the kings, Ludmila. They're the grandest pieces on the board.
Some more bread.
We'll just have you make those 2 pieces. That's all.
All right. But how are you going to make them black and white?
The bread brown, dust is gray, so they'll be gray and brown.
What piece will I make?
Poems. They're the smallest. Like you.
They all laugh a bit. Then the voice of Dmitri is heard from off stage.
Roll call in 5 minutes. Get to it, Zechkas.
You heard him? Let's go.
I need to go to the latrine first.
Oh,
Come with me.
I don't need to.
I don't like it in there.
Are you scared of falling in? The boards are loose. Look out. If you fall in there, no one will come to get you out.
Please?
All right, let's go.
The lights shift as Anya and Galina cross towards one side of the stage, and Galina briefly exits. The others then line up across the front of the stage as Dmitri enters, holding a clipboard. Anya joins the lineup, and then finally Galina swiftly re-enters.
Line up.
Get in line.
Galina positions herself in line as Dmitri approaches them.
Yelena Levchenko.
Da.
Ludmila Prostakova.
da,
Galina Voznashensky.
Da.
Katya Petrova.
Da.
Anya Drozdova.
Da.
Veter Zechkas.
Dmitri exits.
You know what that means?
The letters are here.
We're allowed to receive letters, but they don't arrive very often, and they screen everything that's sent to us. We can receive packages too, but it takes weeks for them to get here, and anything good is usually taken out. When the mail comes, it's good news for the Zechkas. Except me. For me, it's one of the worst things I know. To be unhappy, alone, in the midst of shared happiness.
Dmitri enters holding a small mail bag and several letters, whose envelopes have already been opened.
Prostakova.
give it to me.
Ludmila grabs the letter from Dmitri and starts to take it out of its envelope. Galina receives the letter from Dmitri and then turns her back to read the voice of Polina as Ludmila reads her letter. Dmitri also hands a letter to Yelena and Katya, but not to Anya.
Dearest Mama, I miss you so much that my heart hurts. Auntie Irina is doing her best to comfort me, and she is a good guardian. But I can't stand being without you. School is fine, I guess, but some of the teachers look at me strange. They know about you and they're suspicious of me. They keep asking me, what do I think of what you've done? Do I consider myself to be a good Soviet youth? Am I loyal to Stalin? I don't think some of them like me very much, but I'm not going to let them hold me back. I'm going to work very hard, do well in school, do everything I can to raise myself up. So when you come home, you will be so proud of me. I miss you so much. Please come home soon. Your dearest, Paulina.
Paulina's her daughter.
Oh, Paulina, my dearest, sweet girl.
15 years old. Ludmila misses her like mad. When Ludmila was arrested, Paulina got lucky. She went to live with her aunt. Usually, the authorities just send the children of convicted politicals to a state orphanage.
Galina hands her letter back to Dmitri. Ludmila slowly folds up her letter, hands it to Dmitri.
They don't let us keep the letters, though. We only get to read them. They also let us write letters, but not very often, maybe once a month or so.
Dmitri pulls out some paper and pencils from the mailbag.
All right, Zechka, it's time to write home. 2 sheets of paper each.
Just 2 sheets. Last time we got 4.
Today it's 2. Order from Captain Volkov. Maybe next time you'll get 4.
Fine, give them to me.
Books are forbidden. Keeping letters, forbidden. Even writing anything down is forbidden. So getting to compose a letter is a special occasion.
My dearest Paulina.
Ludmila loves to write. She used to work for Izvetsa, a newspaper.
You are always in my thoughts. Every single day.
I've never seen anyone scroll so fast.
Be strong, my little one. And remember this. I am completely innocent of anything that I have been accused of. And this is all a terrible mistake that will be corrected soon. Please have faith in me and in our glorious Soviet state to right this terrible wrong.
If we get more than 1 sheet of paper, Ludmila writes 1 letter to her daughter and the other one to...
Dear Comrade Stalin, my name is Ludmila Prostakova. I am writing to inform you of a grave injustice committed against me. Your eternally loyal comrade and citizen. This is my 5th letter to you. I have been wrongfully accused of violating Article 58 and am currently serving 5 years in a corrective labor camp in Siberia. While I am happy to serve the revolution in any manner that you deem fit, I contend that I am innocent, that my sentence was incorrectly imposed by lax members of the NKVD, persons who do not hold their service to you in very high regard.
On and on she goes. She writes until there's no space left on the page.
Your eternally loyal servant, Ludmila Prostakova.
Anya stands blankly for a moment. Yelena notices her not writing.
Aren't you going to write?
Who would I write to? My mother is dead.
Your father?
My father? I don't know where he is.
Write to him anyway. One thing about the state security, they know where everyone is.
Anya begins to write her letter.
Dear Father, I hope you are doing well. I'm getting by here. Life in the labor camp is not so easy. But so far I am in good health and I have not run into too much trouble. How are you? Can you tell me anything about where you are? I miss you very much. There's not much else to say except that. I hope to see you someday soon. Your daughter, Anya.
Anya hands her letter to Dmitri and the rest follow in turn.
That's it. Time to work. 1 step to the left or 1 step to the right.
The lights shift and the women cross to one side of the stage and pick up some hand sickles, while Dmitri sets the mailbag aside and shoulders a rifle. The women then return to center stage and begin working, wielding the hand sight slowly, laboriously. Yelena seems to be the least industrious worker. Dmitri stands and lazily watches over them while holding the rifle. Anya gradually works her way over to the far side of the stage, away from Dmitri. He sees her and approaches her.
What are you doing?
Nothing,
Trying to escape, Zechka.
No, I just wandered off a bit.
You want to escape? Go ahead.
What?
Maybe you should go west. Moscow's 3,000 kilometers that way. Better start walking.
I wasn't trying to escape, I just...
Or maybe go east. Irkutsk is that way. It's only 1,500 kilometers.
I'm sorry.
Nothing but forest and swamp. If you're lucky, you might find a railroad track.
Please.
Yeah, the Zechka escaped last April. Just walked away. Then she got about 20 kilometers. We found her a week later. They used the dogs. You should have seen her face after the bugs got through with it.
Forgive me.
You can escape all you want to, Anya Drozdova. There's nowhere to go.
The women continue working as Dmitri watches over them. Finally, Dmitri motions for the women to stop, and the lights shift. The women then trudge warily over to one side of the stage, set down their hand sights, and slowly return to the bunk area of the barracks to assume positions of sleep. Dmitri then exits as the lights fade out. Act 1, Scene 2, October 1940. The stage remains immersed in darkness. A bird is heard singing briefly in the background. There is a brief silence, and then the voice of Anya is heard.
Dear Diary, October. It might be the 20th. Earlier this morning, I heard a bird singing, perched on a tree, just outside the camp fence. So beautiful. For that little bird, small creature of nature, there is no arrest, no prison, no sentence, no exile, no camp, no work, no ideology.
The lights slowly come up to afford a dim view of the stage. Anya is awake while the others lie sleeping in their bunks near her.
Animals might kill each other, but that's only because they have to eat, to survive. But people kill each other because they want to. That simple little bird is freer than I am. It can sing, it can fly. No one can confine it. I thought of a little poem. Sing, little bird, sing for me. When you fly, soar high, and carry my soul along with thee. I recited it in my head over and over. I didn't want to forget it. I wish I could write it down. I'll remember it though. And someday, I will write it down.
The lights slowly come up further to daybreak. Dmitri enters.
Roll call, get going, Zechkas.
The women rouse themselves and slowly make their way towards Dmitri. They then stand across the stage in a straight line.
Every morning we assemble outside the barracks. The guards call out our names and we must respond with yes. Da.
Yelena Levchenko.
Da.
It's meaningless.
Ludmila Prostakova.
Da.
Since no one would ever dare not to show up.
Katya Petrova.
Da.
We all know what would happen if we didn't.
Galina Voznashensky.
Da.
Every day. Always the same.
Anya Drozdova.
Da. But then, something strange happened. For some reason, one day all of us started to respond, louder and louder, each morning at roll call.
Yelena Levchenko.
Da.
You see, singing and laughing aren't allowed.
Ludmila Prostakova.
Da.
We're not even supposed to talk loud.
Katya Petrova.
Da.
Galina Voznashensky.
Da.
This was the one time any of us could yell, shout without suspicion. So we did.
Anya Drozdova.
Da! But then, the season started to get colder.
Yelena Levchenko.
Da.
We realized that our shouting
Ludmila Prostakova.
Da.
was pointless.
Katya Petrova.
Da.
So by the end of October,
Galina Voznashensky.
Da.
the shouting stopped.
Anya Drozdova.
Da.
Off to work. Get to it, Zechkas. One step to the left or one step to the right.
The lights shift as Dmitri shoulders his rifle and marches all the women off stage except for Anya. Anya is then left alone, bathed in a single light shining from above her.
Da. Yes. That's all I say now, every day. But for a long time, I said niet. No. I said no to them a lot, for all the good it did to me.
The lights shift as an NKVD agent enters, wearing a long coat and displaying a serious expression. He then makes a gesture of knocking at an unseen door, and the ominous sound of a knock on the door is heard.
Open up!
Arrest. It's terrifying.
An insistent knock on the door is heard.
It could be any time, day or night.
The agent knocks again.
They call your name.
Anya Drozdova!
You know immediately that you're in trouble.
Anya Drozdova, open the door!
I'm Anya Drozdova.
Anya Drozdova, you come with me, now!
I was shaking. I'd never been so scared.
We need to ask you some questions.
Even though I did nothing wrong, I felt so guilty.
Get in the car.
I need to tell my father.
He's been informed.
The lights shift as Anya is escorted across the stage by the agent.
They took me to a prison, Lefortovo prison. All I had was the clothes I was wearing.
Get in.
The agent shoves Anya into a dimly lit prison cell area. The other 4 women are there, female inmates, now portrayed by the other Zetchkas. They stand solemnly about in the cell.
They didn't ask me any questions. Not at first. They stuck me in a cell.
The agent exits.
This is my corner. Remember that.
What is this place?
What do you think it is?
They just said they wanted to ask me some questions.
Idiot. You've been arrested.
I don't understand. How long will I be here?
I've been here for 2 months.
What?
Have some pity. Can't you see that she's frightened?
Just don't make a fuss about anything.
There were 5 of us in that cell, night and day.
There's the pot. Don't tip it over. We all have to use it.
A single bucket? We all used it for... The smell was horrendous.
A prison guard enters and walks by the cell once. Anya wanders over towards female inmate number 1.
Get out of my corner!
Anya moves away from female inmate number 1 and then tries to lay down as the prison guard enters again and walks by the cell.
No sleeping. Wake up.
The guard exits.
Sleeping during the day was forbidden. And at night, they left the light on. So good luck trying to get any shut-eye.
The prison guard enters and opens the cell door.
Anya Drozdova.
I was in that cell for 5 days before they brought me into interrogation.
The prison guard escorts Anya across the stage to a chair. An interrogator, Sokolov, is there sitting at a small table, looking at some papers, waiting for her. The prison guard plops Anya down in the chair and exits.
Anya Drozdova.
That's me. I'm Anya Drozdova, but there's been a mistake.
Quiet! You will answer my questions.
Of course, comrade.
You will address me as Inspector Sokolov.
Inspector Sokolov.
You're 19 years old, a student at the College of Fine Arts.
Yes, Inspector Sokolov. I want to be a novelist, a Soviet novelist. I have so many words always running through my head all the time. It makes it hard for me to be around other people.
You know a student there named Yuri Penchikov.
Yuri? What about him?
You know him?
Yes.
You've spent some time with him.
Yes, I think he likes me.
Did you know that his father was a Menshevik?
No? His father was a what?
A Menshevik. A soft socialist. A revisionist. An enemy of Lenin.
No, I didn't know that.
Don't bother trying to hide anything. We know everything already.
I don't know anything, Inspector Sokolov.
You don't know anything? You're not a Menshevik?
No.
A revisionist?
No.
A Zinovist?
No. A what?
A counter-revolutionary?
No.
A traitor?
No.
Sokolov continues, questioning Anya, rising from his chair, moving around her as she directs her next line out front.
This went on for hours, like a game of chess in which no pieces are ever taken.
The lights shift to reveal Yelena and Galina playing at chess at the table in the barracks area on the other side of the stage.
No, Galina. The knight doesn't move like that.
How then? Show me again.
Watch. See?
Yelena continues to demonstrate how to move the chess pieces to Galina as the interrogation continues on the other side of the stage.
He would ask me questions, endless questions, then ask them again.
How long have you known Yuri Penchikov? How well do you know his father?
Hoping I would say something to implicate myself or them.
Did his father ever discuss political matters?
Or that I'd contradict myself.
So you did meet his father?
I met him once.
You said you didn't know him.
I don't. I just met him one time.
Good, you're getting it now. Yes, that's how the pawns move.
They move forward, but caps are sideways. Seems strange.
Pawns just do what they're told to do.
Stand up. Sit down.
He did this to me a lot.
Stand up. Sit down.
Anya continues to sit and stand as ordered.
Over and over.
Stand up. Sit down.
How long does this game last?
It depends. It's a battle of wits.
It goes on forever?
It can take a long time, but someone always wins.
I'm getting tired.
Don't worry, I've almost got you.
Are we almost done?
We can end this right now. All you need to do is tell me the truth.
I am telling you the truth.
I think not.
This went on for hours. He brought me into that room every day for 3 weeks and did the same thing.
Stand up. Sit down. Stand up. Sit down.
Anya continues to sit and stand as ordered.
Checkmate!
The lights shift as Anya crosses to her bunk and Sokolov exits with the chair.
I don't care anymore.
Ludmila, you're next.
Galina moves away from the table as Ludmila takes her place.
You'll find I'm better than Galina is.
We'll see.
There is a pause as Yelena and Ludmila start to play chess, making several moves in quick succession.
Your queen's in trouble.
Ah,
She's trapped.
maybe, maybe not.
It's getting late, Ludmila. Should we stop? When we come back, it'll be your turn.
Fine.
There is a pause as the women retire to their respective bunks and the lights shift to almost complete darkness. The other women appear to fall asleep, but Anya's eyes remain open as a single, dim light continues to shine on her.
Dear Diary, today I kept thinking about my interrogation. What could I have done different? I think about it a lot, but every time I do, I realize that there was nothing I could have said, nothing I could have done to keep myself free. From the moment they took me, my fate was sealed. The arrest, the imprisonment, the questioning, all of it. It was just a formality. So quiet now. It's the end of the day. Usually I'm tired at night, like the rest. I can only think for just a brief few moments before sleep overwhelms me. Sleep. It's the only escape any Zetchka has from this rotten camp.
Anya drifts off to sleep and the lights start to dim. Then Dmitri and Volkov loudly enter, bursting into the barracks door as the lights swiftly flash to an eye-piercing full illumination.
Inspection!
Not again.
Get up. Line up. Arms up.
The women rise from their bunks and stand in a line across the stage with their arms held high in the air.
Move it. Yes, sir.
There is a pause as Volkov slowly looks at the frightened women who are standing there with their arms raised high in the air. He then slowly moves about the barracks, looking around a bit. Finally, he looks at the table and notices the chess set.
Dmitri, what's this? What? I said, what is this? I don't know. Breadcrumbs. Idiot!
He strikes Dmitri roughly in the shoulder.
Can't you see? It's a chess game. It is? Yes. The Sasquatched have made a chess set right under your stupid nose. Oh.
Volkov smashes the bread pieces with his fist, throwing some off the table.
Games are forbidden. Amusements forbidden. I didn't know. I'm sorry, sir. You're not doing your job. Captain Volkov, 800 Zetchkas in this camp, but only the ones on your watch are playing games. Where's your brain at? Do I need to transfer you to far north? Maybe a stint in Vorkuta or Kolyma would teach you some discipline. Captain Volkov, please. Shut up! Games are forbidden. No chess. No checkers. Do I make myself clear? You forget yourselves. Who do you think you are? I tell you, you're enemies of the state. Traitors to the revolution. Treasonous criminals. You're here to work. Your only chance for redemption is to work, to show serious remorse for your actions. This is your sentence. What you deserve is a bullet in the head. But
if you work hard enough and follow the rules, you will have a chance. You're here to work the treason out of your lousy hides.
Yes, comrade!
I am not your comrade.
You heard the commandant? No games.
Shut your hole. Half rations for every Zetchka in this barrack for the rest of the week. See to it.
Yes, Captain Volkov.
Volkov exits as the women lower their arms.
I was winning.
No games in the barracks. No games anywhere.
You never told us that. How can we know what's forbidden if you don't tell us?
Everything is forbidden unless we tell you otherwise. Never assume that something is permitted. That's the way things are.
As Dmitri starts to exit, he comes face to face with Katya, who crosses her arms in front of her in a gesture of defiance towards him. Dmitri looks at her for a moment, demurs a bit, and then exits as the lights fade out. Act 1, Scene 3, November 1940. The stage remains immersed in darkness. There is a brief silence, and then the voice of Anya is heard.
November the 17th, I think. It sounds strange, but I guess this place is my home now. I don't like it here. I don't want to be here. Always around people, these stupid people. But this is my home. Until 6 months ago, I lived with my whole life in one place. Then, in an instant, it was all changed. And now, here I am, in exile. When I was young, I had a quiet home with just my mother and father. Now I am all alone in a crowd of strangers.
The lights slowly come up to afford a dim view of the stage.
Mother, father, the only ones who were not strangers. But what's the point of being close to someone if they betray you? Is there any forgiveness for betrayal? I don't know why, but I'm not as hungry as I used to be. It was horrible at first. Here you work all the time, so you get hungry. They don't feed us enough. So the first few weeks, all I could think about was food. Hunger. Real hunger. It's painful. It hurts. The body cries out for food. The need for it takes over your body like a kind of demon possessing you. It turns you into an animal. But I don't have that uncontrollable craving anymore. I'm still hungry, but my body knows it's not going to get what it wants. So it stopped crying out for it.
The sound of a woman screaming is suddenly heard in the background. The other women wake up and sit up in their bunks.
What was that?
Listen.
The screaming is heard again, muffled, distant.
What should we do?
Someone's in trouble.
Trouble never comes alone.
Should we call the guard?
We're not supposed to leave the barracks after dark.
She's right. Don't go out there.
The woman's screaming is heard continuously, distant, muffled, very, occasionally elongated.
What should we do?
Don't worry. We won't hear it for much longer.
There is a pause as the screaming continues intermittently, and the women sit up in their bunks listening as the lights slowly fade out to complete darkness. There is a moment of silence in the dark, and then the lights slowly rise up to show all of the women sleeping. It is morning once again. Dmitri enters.
Roll call, 5 minutes.
Dmitri exits as the women rise from their bunks. Galina preens a bit. Anya notices that her tunic is ripped.
Oh no.
What?
My tunic, it's ripped. It's going to fall apart.
I can fix it.
How? You have a needle?
Sort of.
Lord Miller reaches under her bunk blanket and pulls something out.
What's that?
A fishbone. I pulled it out of the soup. It can be a needle. And I have some loose thread.
Clever.
Ludmila starts to sew Anya's tunic.
Thank you.
It looks like you've got yourself a new mother.
I'll just get it good enough to hold until tonight. Then I can fix it better.
Anya, I have to go to the latrine.
Stop drinking so much water, Galina.
I get thirsty.
You'll have to go by yourself.
Galina exits towards the latrine. There is a pause as Ludmila finishes sewing the tunic.
Thank you.
There. That's good enough for now.
Thank you. I know it would have hurt even more.
I saw it better tonight. It'll be fine for today.
Let's go.
Dmitri enters with a clipboard as the women line up for roll call. Galina hurriedly enters.
Yelena Levchenko.
Da.
Ludmila Prostakova.
Da.
Galina Vozneshensky.
Da.
Katya Petrova.
Da.
Anya Drozdova.
Da.
The sound of a woman yelling in a very emotional manner is heard off stage. They all turn to look in the direction of the yelling. A guard is then heard shouting unintelligible commands back at the woman, who apparently refuses to stop her yelling. Volkov suddenly enters, rushing towards the yelling and pulling out a handgun as he crosses the stage and exits on the other side. There is another brief moment of yelling, and then the sound of a gunshot is heard. They all recoil at the sound of the gunshot, including Dmitri.
When you chop a tree, the chips will fly. Let's go, Zechkas. One step to the left or one step to the right.
The lights shift and the women cross to one side of the stage and pick up some wooden-headed hammers while Dmitri grabs his rifle. The women then turn to center stage and begin working. Once again, Yelena is the least industrious. Dmitri stands and lazily watches over them, holding the rifle. Ludmila notices Yelena resting. Ludmila stops working and approaches Yelena. Dmitri is distant from them and is looking in the other direction and does not see them.
You're pathetic.
Shut up.
Some worker you are, a real Stakhanovite.
Some people work with their hands, others work with their brain.
Your brain.
Yes, don't forget, I'm the chess grandmaster.
You're still on about that. That was 3 weeks ago.
Admit it, you lost.
I admit nothing.
You were trapped. I would have won.
Trapped.
The lights shift and Ludmila's interrogator enters with a chair.
Trapped! I had you.
What do you have
What
to
do
say
you
to
think
that?
Nothing.
Don't you have something to say to me?
No.
The lights shift as Yelena, Dmitri, and the other women exit as Ludmila remains standing, facing her interrogator. He motions for her to sit in the chair. Ludmila crosses to the chair and sits.
Are you sure you have nothing else to tell me?
I'm sure.
That's disappointing.
There's nothing else for me to say.
Perhaps we should undertake a new line of inquiry.
A what?
Perhaps your daughter Paulina knows something.
What do you mean?
I could have her brought in.
No, she's innocent. She knows nothing about any of this.
So certain are you?
Yes, absolutely.
So then you know who is guilty and who's not?
No one is guilty.
No one?
Not in our family.
You think so, eh?
Yes.
Well then, we'll just talk to Paulina, confirm what you told us.
No.
God!
No, please.
Perhaps then, there is something you would like to tell me. Since you know who is guilty and who is not.
Yes.
Yes, what?
My husband, Anatoly, he's guilty. He met with some foreign journalists.
Go on.
I think he told them things he shouldn't have about the government.
Violation of Article 58, Section 3. Contact with foreign agents.
Yes.
We already knew that. He denied it at first, but he confessed yesterday.
He did? Then why did you...
We needed to know if you knew. And you did.
It was him, not me. I did nothing, and Paulina, she knows nothing.
I believe you.
Oh, thank you, comrade.
You did nothing, Paulina knows nothing.
Yes, that's right.
You knew that your husband had contact with foreign spies, but you did nothing.
I was scared. I was thinking of my daughter.
Ludmila Proskovalva, you are guilty under Article 58, Section 12. Failure to report.
I am a loyal Communist Party member. I'm a writer for Izvestia.
I know who and what you are.
I'm innocent. I did nothing.
You are guilty. Now, about your daughter.
Paulina knows nothing. She's innocent.
Your daughter won't be charged, but you will.
There is a pause as the lights shift, and Ludmila returns to the barracks area as the interrogator exits with the chair. The other women are already there, sleeping in their bunks. Ludmila lies in her bunk and falls asleep as the lights dim to almost darkness. and the voice of Anya is heard.
Dear Diary, sometimes kindness appears when you need it most, and sometimes from the person you least expect it from. Ludmila. Ludmila actually did something nice for me today. Ludmila. I've spent so much time quietly despising her, clenching my jaw every time she said something. Like she was some stern teacher, always lecturing us. But she actually helped me. It was wrong for me to hate her. I shouldn't hate any Zechka. Because here, we're all the same. It's just that. Sometimes, I just wish I could be alone.
Dmitri enters, walking unstably as if drunk. He mumbles and shuffles a bit before entering the barracks area. Anya hears him and ceases talking.
Yelena! Yelena!
Yelena rises from her bunk and approaches Dmitri.
Quiet! I told you not to come here.
But I need to see you.
You're drunk. Go back to your barracks.
Yelena tries to push Dmitri away, which makes some noise that wakes up Katya, Galina, and Ludmila.
What's going on?
Nothing.
It's Dmitri.
He's just drunk.
Why is he here?
How should I know?
Oh, don't say that. Come on, Yelena.
Get him out of here!
Dmitri, time for you to go.
So soon. All right, I'll go. See you later then.
Yes, fine. Just get out of here.
Dmitri exits. Yelena turns around to see the other women looking at her.
Well.
Shut up.
I should have known. You always seem to have extra food. Now I know why.
It's my business, not yours.
It's not your business. What if Dmitri punishes all of us tomorrow?
When he's drunk, he forgets everything. I've slapped him in the face more than once. The next day, he doesn't even remember it. I can smack him as much as I want to, and he still gives me food. He's the perfect camp husband.
Yelena.
So you've got something going for yourself. How about something for us?
Get your own guard.
Fraternizing against the rules.
Maybe I should report you.
You wouldn't dare.
Wouldn't I?
If you do, they'll throw Yelena in solitary. And maybe you as well.
So what? What's so bad about solitary confinement? Sounds peaceful. Quiet.
No. You don't want that.
Maybe I do. At least it would be a chance to get away from all of you.
Slowly approaching Anya and grabbing her by the arms.
Listen to me. You don't want that.
Let me go.
There's no need to report anything. Yelena's going to share. Aren't you, Yelena?
I'll give you some, but I'm keeping most of it.
Katya approaches.
That's fair. But over time, keep asking for more. Got it?
I don't think that...
Got it?
Yes?
You share with us, and we've got your back. Zechkas don't turn on each other.
All right, but no more comments about my work.
Done.
The lights slowly fade out as the women all look at each other. Act 1, Scene 4, December 1940. The stage remains immersed in darkness. There is a brief silence, and then the voice of Anya is heard.
Dear Diary, it's December now. Things aren't getting any easier. Every day is work. There's no such thing as a rest day or holidays. Oh, there are holidays for the revolution. But according to the Gulag administrators, what better way to celebrate them than to work for the motherland? The only way to get off from work is to be sick. But you have to be really sick. With a fever or a broken limb. And even that, you're in the infirmary. The doctor there doesn't have a lot of medicine. He can't help you much. So you just lie there with the rest of the sick ones and hope you don't catch what they have.
The lights slowly come up to afford a dim view of the stage. The other women are awake, reclining or sitting in their bunks.
It's getting colder now. Daylight is short. It means less work time outdoors, and the more time in the barracks. But I'd rather work longer hours in the warm sun than work fewer hours in the cold.
The lights shift a bit as Dmitri enters the barracks area with the mail bag.
The mail is late today, Zechkas.
The women rise from their bunks and make their way towards Dmitri. He reaches into the mail bag and starts to distribute letters.
Prostakova, Voznashinsky, Levchenko, Petrova.
Awkwardly to Anya.
Sometimes things get lost in the mail. And 2 sheets for writing back.
Galina turns her back in order to voice Ludmila's letter. Anya observes Ludmila as she opens her letter.
Ludmila's news is bad. I can tell just by reading her face.
Mother, I have decided to join the Komsomol. This is an important step in my advancement towards membership in the Communist Party. However, it is impossible for me to join a Soviet youth organization if I have any association with or sympathy for enemies of the motherland. This includes you. In the past few months, I have come to the realization that the crime you are accused of was a severe act of treason, and I would not allow my family ties to influence my outlook on matters of political ideology. You have been telling me that you are innocent. I need to know honestly whether or not you committed this crime. I suspect that you are guilty, and you have been lying to me. If so, I will denounce you, and I will never write to you again. I demand an immediate reply. Polina Prostakova.
Ludmila stands still and quiet, stunned by the message. The others are engaged in reading or writing their own letters, except for Anya, who quietly watches Ludmila from a distance. Dmitri remains off to the side, quietly sorting through the letters in the mailbag.
For once, what she wrote back was very short.
Paulina, my dearest Paulina. Paulina, I'm guilty. Ludmila Prostakova.
Ludmila slowly folds up her letter.
Dear Father, this is the 3rd letter I've sent to you. I don't know if you've received the other letters I've sent. I am in a labor camp, somewhere west of Tomsk. So far, I am doing all right. I'm learning how to play chess. The first lesson in chess is that the pawns are the most numerous piece, but they are weak. They have no power. Pawns exist only to sacrifice themselves to serve the king. Father, please, whatever you think of me, tell me you hate me, tell me you disown me, but please tell me that you're alive. Anya.
The others finish writing. Dmitri then collects all of the letters.
That's it. Get to sleep, Zechkas. Tomorrow you walk on the road again.
The lights shift as Dmitri exits. Ludmila retreats alone to her bunk. She seems very quiet and withdrawn.
I'm so tired of working on that stupid road. What do they even need it for?
To bring more prisoners here.
What for?
Chop more trees, clear more land, build more barracks. Enlarge the camp.
What for?
So they can bring more prisoners here.
Very funny.
Katya, how old are you?
29.
You seem older than that. I mean, you seem very wise.
When you know too much, you get old quickly. I'm still here after 3 years, so I know some things. Like how to survive. You've got to save all your effort for what really matters. You can't react to what they do to you. Getting emotional, snapping, going crazy. That's a big risk. It's the main reason why a guard shoots a Zechka. Or, if you give up and want to hang yourself, don't just use a blanket or a shirt sleeve. You've got to get a thin, strong cord. Put it tight around your neck.
You do know a lot, don't you?
Why wouldn't I? I've been here the longest.
No, it's more than that. You know things no one else does.
Maybe I'm just smarter than all of you.
Maybe.
God knows they need a better road into the camp. The truck that brought me here rattled so much I thought it would break my bones.
A truck. How nice for you. I came here in August 1937, just when the camp was being established. One of the early groups.
The lights shift. Katya alone becomes fully illuminated.
They dropped us off at the train station. Just a platform, really. We waited there for hours, just huddled there.
The other women sit in the darkness around her. A transit guard enters.
Finally, a guard came in and started yelling at us.
Get to it, we're moving out.
The other women rise and stand around Katya, now playing the roles of the other Zechkas who marched with her in August 1937.
They lined us up. We asked where the trucks were. The guard said,
Is there something wrong with your feet?
The women in the guard start to walk in place.
They made us walk. The camp was 50 kilometers away. Guards with rifles were posted on either side of us. The guards shouted,
Any attempt to escape and you will be shot. One step to the left or one step to the right is an attempt to escape. You will be shot.
There were some people pulling a cart behind us, following us. It was August. It was hot. The sun was blazing down. We'd been sitting in prison for months, and then on the train for days. We were in no condition to... And they expected us to march 50 kilometers.
One step to the left or one step to the right.
We didn't stop to rest until evening. All of us were so weak, tired, sunburned.
Get moving!
The women in the guard begin to walk in place again.
It was too much for some. A few of the women just dropped, exhausted, dead.
Galina drops down, apparently dead.
Oh!
The walking in place temporarily ceases.
They grabbed the dead ones, threw them on the carts.
Get moving!
The women, except for Galina and the guard, walk in place again.
That's why they had the cart. They had done it before. They knew that some of us wouldn't make it.
Halt!
The guard, women cease their walking in place.
We didn't arrive until the end of the second day. I was almost dead, but I made it.
The lights shift. The guard exits and the other women resume their regular roles. Galina rises up from the floor but seems sad and looks downward.
Politicals like us have to stick together.
I'm not a political. I'm a criminal.
Every woman in this camp is a political. If you're a criminal, what was your crime?
Murder.
Murder? Really? You killed someone?
Not just one. Many. I've killed many people.
Really? How many?
Too many.
Galina, are you alright?
No,
Katya's just joking.
I know.
Then what is it? What's wrong?
It's December.
I know, it's getting cold.
No, it's not that.
What then?
December, January, New Year's, Christmas. I've never been away from my family at Christmas. I don't think I could bear it.
Don't think about it. It'll be just another day.
Please don't cry about it, Galina. I don't like it when you cry at night.
I'll try not to.
It's best not to think about things too much. But night is when the thoughts come out.
Yes.
Will you celebrate with me? Maybe sing some songs, just a little, on Christmas Day?
Alright, we'll sing, but we'll have to sing very softly.
The women lie down in their bunks and the lights slowly fade to a dim illumination. Then voices are heard, thoughts running through the heads of the women as they try to fall asleep.
Don't bother trying to hide anything. We know everything already.
Dearest Mama, I miss you so much that my heart hurts.
One step to the left or one step to the right.
Stand up. Sit down.
The sound of a woman screaming is briefly heard, distant, muffled.
That's the best part of life.
What you deserve is a bullet in the head.
An insistent knock on the door is heard.
Anya Drozdova, open the door.
Lies! You're lying! Everything is forbidden unless we tell you otherwise.
How many, Katya? Petrova, what is the number?
You will come with me now.
One step to the left or one step to the right.
Open the door.
Deserve is a bullet in the head.
You know everything already. Stand up. Sit down.
How many, Katya?
Zeshka! Zeshka!
End of Act 1. Act 2, Scene 1, January 1941. The stage remains immersed in darkness. The sound of the wind blowing, even howling, is briefly heard in the background. There is a brief silence, and then the voice of Anya is heard.
Dear Diary, January.
The sound of the wind blowing is heard.
It's so cold, unbelievably cold. I'm from Moscow. I thought I knew how frigid it can get. But you don't know what cold is until you spend the winter in a Siberian labor camp. You arrive here with only the clothes on your back. They take the best clothing away from you. This sweater is forbidden. This coat isn't in regulation. They take it and they use it for themselves. And they issue us padded jackets, hats with flaps, boots made of wool, some loose mittens. It's not enough to stay warm. These are level of cold. Most people say freezing is cold. Sure, freezing is cold in comparison to summer. But here in the winter, it gets a lot colder than that. At minus 10 degrees Celsius, the cold, it actually hurts. Your clothes start to freeze and harden. The snow itself turns hard, almost dry. The wind hits you in the face and blows the soul right out of you.
The lights come up to afford a dim view of the stage. Anya is awake while the others lie sleeping in their bunks. The wind is heard again.
They're supposed to keep us inside when the temperature drops too low. But the camp has quotas to make. And so, sometimes we're outside even when it's too harsh. Just enduring that sort of cold, it causes a kind of insanity.
The lights slowly rise, shifting to daybreak. Anya remains awake. Dmitri enters wearing a long coat and a hat with flaps that cover his ears.
Roll call. Get yourselves outside. Now.
The women rouse themselves. They are now wearing padded coats. They don hats with flaps that cover their ears. They then make their way out of the barracks area and stand across the stage in a straight line.
Yelena Levchenko.
Da.
Ludmila Prostakova.
Da.
Galina Voznashensky.
Da.
Katya Petrova.
Da.
Anya Drozdova.
Da.
Let's go. One step to the left or one step to the right.
The lights shift and the women cross to one side of the stage and grab some pickaxes while Dmitri shoulders his rifle. The women then return to center stage and begin working. As always, Yelena is the least industrious. The wind can be heard blowing in the background. Dmitri stands and watches over them while holding the rifle. He seems cold and preoccupied, bracing himself and even stomping his feet a bit in a vain effort to stay warm. After a moment or two, he exits, hoping his absence won't be noticed by the Zechkas. They all notice him leave, but don't react to his exit at first.
What's he doing?
Going off for a smoke?
The women, no longer being watched by Dmitri, pause in their work.
It's so cold out here today.
It gets worse.
The sound of a wind gust is heard. They all brace and bundle up a bit.
Ah, too cold.
Turn your back to the wind. That will help.
Anya shifts her stance. All the women stand with their back to one direction. There is a brief pause, and then the sound of a wind gust is heard again. They all brace or bundle up again. Another wind gust is heard, and the women brace themselves once more. Katya slowly starts working again.
What are you doing? He's not watching.
It's best to keep moving.
Suit yourself.
All of the women except Ludmila brace themselves against the cold. The wind is heard briefly again. Ludmila wanders off to stand by herself. Yelena and Galina gather together for warmth away from Anya and Katya.
Something's wrong with Ludmila.
Something's wrong with everyone.
She's hardly talked in the past week.
Lucky for us.
She's been giving me and Galina her food.
What?
I think she's in despair.
Despair is a luxury none of us can afford. I've seen this before.
What can we do for her?
Nothing.
Dmitri slowly and surreptitiously enters, hoping his return is unnoticed. As soon as they see him, the women resume working, except for Ludmila, who drops to her knees, freezing and exhausted. Dmitri sees her.
Get up. Get up, Zechka. Now, or I'll shoot.
Shoot me.
What?
Shoot me! Shoot me! I'm begging you!
You're crazy.
I said shoot me!
Dmitri lowers his rifle and approaches her.
I can't shoot you. Volkov will have my head if I do.
He roughly pulls Ludmila back up to her feet.
Besides, we have to drag your body back to camp. Get back to work.
The work continues as Dmitri stands watching. The sound of the wind is heard again. Suddenly, Anya stops working and speaks directly out while the others continue silently working.
It's like some horrible experiment. Rob a person of everything they need. Their home, their family, their clothes, sleep, medicine, even banish them from the lands they know. And send them out in the middle of nowhere with only the barest essentials. A camp. The food they give you, rotten, measly, 2 meals a day. If you can even call them that. Usually some kind of fish soup and a tiny loaf of bread. And then you work. You labor all the time, not for yourself, not to achieve anything, but just because they tell you to, and they threaten you if you don't. And all the while, the gun is pointed at you. 1 step to the left, or 1 step to the right. Even in the winter, how long can a body last under such conditions?
Dmitri slinks off once again and exits, this time not caring if the women notice him. All of the women cease working except for Katya. Ludmila stops working and then slowly sits or kneels on the ground. Only Anya notices her at first.
He's gone.
Ludmila, what are you doing? Get up before Dmitri sees you.
I'm just going to sit.
Do you want to get a beating?
Ludmila remains on the ground, her face blank. Katya stops working.
Get up before Dmitri gets back and hits you with the butt of his rifle.
I can't.
Ludmila slowly lies down, face down, her face on her hands.
Ludmila, you can't just lay there. Get up.
Anya starts to go to Ludmila, but she is suddenly stopped by Katya.
Don't.
Anya and Katya look at each other for a brief moment, then struggle with each other as the wind blows. As the struggle ends, their eyes lock, with Katya showing her determination to prevent Anya from helping Ludmila. Finally, Anya reluctantly returns to her pickaxe. They all continue working as Dmitri finally enters and then sees Ludmila lying on the ground.
What's this? Get up, Zechka. I said get up. Is that Prostakova? What the hell is she doing? Get up. God damn it, I said get up.
He broads her with the rifle and there is still no reaction from Ludmila.
Get up now.
He kicks her feet several times, harder. Ludmila remains still.
Get up.
Katya stops working and slowly approaches Dmitri as the wind is heard. He has started to see her suddenly appear near him and points the rifle at her.
Idiot. She's dead.
Dmitri displays a stunned expression as the other women stop working. Galina screams. Dmitri checks Ludmila's body more closely as Katya returns to her pickaxe and starts slowly working again. The wind howls.
Ludmila! No! Oh God, please, no!
Galina wails as the wind is heard again.
Ludmila!
Dmitri realizes that Ludmila is dead. His facial expression is a strange mix of grief, irritation, and frustration. Although it is cold, he removes his hat.
God damn it, I don't believe it. How did this happen?
There is a pause as they all stand completely still for a moment, looking at Ludmila's body as the sound of the wind howls loudly once more. And then the lights immediately plunge into complete darkness, and the wind abruptly ceases. A brief silence, and then the voice of Anya is heard in the dark.
It's funny how things change.
The lights slowly come up to illuminate just Anya.
When I was young, if someone died, it was tragic. It affected me a lot. I'd cry, even for people that I didn't even know very well. My grandmother passed when I was 9 years old. It felt like the end of the world.
Anya turns and crosses slowly to the barracks area as the lights shift. The other women, Katya, Yelena, and Galina, are in the barracks area. As Anya enters the barracks area, Katya starts going through Ludmila's bunk.
Katya, what are you doing? That's disrespectful.
She's dead now. She doesn't need anything. Oh, what's this?
She pulls out a rat tail handled comb.
Look what she's been hiding. You think you know someone.
How did she get that in here?
It's mine now.
You can't just take
I
it.
found it. I'm keeping it.
Galina starts to search Ludmila's bunk and pulls out a leather lanyard.
What's this?
It's a lanyard.
I found it. I'm keeping it.
Katya shrugs as the lights shift to afford a dim view just of Anya. The other women return to their bunks, still wearing their padded coats as Anya speaks.
But then you get older. You see more of life, and you see more of death. And you start to understand. That's the way it is. People die. And then after that, it doesn't affect you so much. Maybe because you need every ounce of strength you can muster just to stay alive yourself. Or maybe because you know that your tears won't make any difference.
The lights slowly fade to darkness as Anya reclines in her bunk. The sound of the wind is heard once more. The sound ceases as the lights slowly come up to daybreak and Dmitri enters.
Roll call. Outside, Zechkas.
The women quickly rouse themselves and line up.
Yelena Levchenko.
Da.
Galina Voznoshensky.
Da.
Katya Petrova.
Da.
Ludmila Pro...
He pauses in mid-word, and the women all look at him. He returns their glance. He takes a pencil and crosses out a line on the clipboard, and then continues.
Anya Drozdova.
Da.
Let's go.
They all begin to march off stage, Dmitri following them except for Anya, who remains standing in place. The lights shift to illuminate her alone on stage.
Goodbye, Ludmila.
The lights fade out to darkness. Act 2, Scene 2, February 1941. The stage remains immersed in darkness. The sound of the wind blowing is heard faintly in the background. There is a brief silence, and then the voice of Anya is heard.
February.
The lights come up to a dim illumination of the stage. Anya is awake in her bunk while the others lie sleeping.
Winter is miserable. It goes on and on. Because it's so cold, we all wear our clothes day and night. We even sleep in our boots and coats. You don't dare take anything off. It's just too cold. And you can't afford to lose any piece of clothing. There's always someone around who might steal it. So we wear everything. All the time. We all smell bad.
The sound of the wind blowing is heard in the background.
Sometimes at night, when I listen to the wind blowing, it makes a musical sound. It changes pitch as it bangs against the roof of the barracks. Like Mother Nature is playing some kind of odd instrument. It sounds almost like doves mourning.
The sound of the wind is heard along with the sound of a choir holding a single note, then changing pitch once or twice.
I don't like the wind, but sometimes, in its own way, it can be beautiful too.
The wind slowly dies down, and then the lights shift as Dmitri and Volkov suddenly enter the barracks area.
Inspection. Line up, Zechkas.
The women rouse themselves and line up across the stage, standing with their hands held high in the air above their heads. They are still wearing their padded coats. Volkov slowly looks around the barracks, the bunks, and then finally at the women. He eyes them suspiciously, then gropingly pats down Yelena from behind.
Are you hiding something, Zechka?
No.
Volkov continues.
It's the coats that are just bulky.
Shut up! When I'm with the prisoners, don't interfere.
Yes, sir.
Volkov starts to grope Anya's torso from behind. Anya is shocked.
What about you? What are you hiding?
Nothing.
I'll be the judge of that.
Volkov ceases groping Anya and is about to search Katya. Yelena suddenly speaks.
Commandant, I apologize for the condition of our barracks. Our group leader died just a few weeks ago. She was the one who kept us in line.
Volkov, now distracted, swiftly looks around the barracks again.
Yes, this place is a mess. 800 prisoners in this camp, and the barracks is one of the worst. No order whatsoever. You need to take charge.
Yes, sir.
You're outside, now!
Dmitri and Volkov leave the barracks area.
How many times do I need to tell you? You can't let your guard down, ever. You'll never amount to anything if you don't improve. You keep forgetting who these women are, what they've done. You can't be soft.
Volkov and Dmitri exit.
He's gone.
All of the women except for Katya lower their arms and return to their bunks. Katya remains standing.
Katya?
Katya slowly lowers her arms and then returns to her bunk. The lights shift to illuminate only Anya. The other women are seen only in dim light.
Yelena did that on purpose. She wouldn't speak out like that unless she had a reason. She's a lot smarter than what she seems.
Go to sleep.
But not smart enough to avoid the gulag. Everyone knows Yelena's type. Beautiful, spoiled, demanding. Her life before her was pretty easy. People did things for her. She never had to work too hard. You might think that it saved her. Most of us were bullied or trapped into confessing, but not her. Yelena's interrogation was the strangest one of all.
The lights shift as Yelena's interrogator enters with a chair. He motions for Yelena to approach him and she crosses over to him.
Yelena Lechenko, come in. Please sit down.
All right.
Thank you for coming in today.
Am I in trouble?
Trouble? What do you mean?
The men who brought me here, they were very severe.
They're just doing their job. Guarding the revolution is serious business, don't you agree?
Yes, I suppose so.
I hope they didn't frighten you.
Maybe just a little.
I apologize if they did. They're just very businesslike. They usually don't have time for pleasantries.
Then I'm not in trouble?
Well, whenever someone is brought in for questioning, we call it an arrest, but really we just want to talk to you.
Talk.
Yes. Would that be all right, Miss Lochenko? It would be very helpful for us.
Of course. Whatever I can do to help.
Wonderful. I think you can really aid the party. Can I get you anything? So like some tea, perhaps a cigarette?
No, not now. Maybe later.
As you wish. So, Yelena Levchenko. May I call you Yelena?
Yes.
Yelena. Such a beautiful name. Appropriate for a beautiful woman like yourself.
Oh, thank you.
I think
Yes?
I think perhaps you remind me of Anna Karenina by Tolstoy. Have you read it?
No, I haven't read it.
Oh, you should. She's very beautiful, but such a tragic story. So, the reason you're here is to discuss the morale of the people.
Morale?
Yes, you see, it's very important for people to like us, to support us.
I think they do support you, Comrade Inspector.
Please, call me Sasha.
I think they do, Sasha.
I hope what you say is true. You see, there's so much work for us to do. And still some who oppose the revolution. We're doing our best to gather the thoughts of the people. People like you, about the new society we're building. It's important for the proletariat to lead. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
Now let's face it, our situation is not yet ideal. Comrade Stalin wants to build a workers' paradise, but our industry is still being built up. And in the meantime, we're all asked to make sacrifices for a Soviet state.
I understand.
I'm sure you've had to make some sacrifices.
Well, I don't know, maybe.
So reticent. Reminds me of Shenson.
Who?
Shenson. Afanasi Fet, the poet. I'll say nothing whatever to you. I'll not trouble you with it one bit. And if thoughts harped upon all day through, I don't dare give the tiniest hint.
I don't really know any poetry.
No. Pity. Verse are the best part of life. I was hoping you'd share some with me.
What would you have me say?
We need some perspective. It's hard for us to get honest answers.
About what?
About everything. About our government, about the revolution itself.
I don't know what you mean.
Come now. Of course you do. Please tell me how someone like you, an average Soviet citizen, could possibly represent our government and our party.
I don't know.
Please, Yelena, we just want to understand. So we can do better. We can't do better if we don't know what to do. Please? It's for the motherland.
So, she told him everything.
As Anya continues to speak, Yelena mimes speaking as the interrogator appears to listen to her very attentively.
She explained in complete and utter detail every grievance that she ever had. He listened patiently, encouraged her. Yelena loves to complain. She felt important, smart. Someone actually wanted to know what she thought. She listed every disappointing or inconvenient thing that she had ever experienced, whether it was political or not. She went on and on. Progress was an illusion. The government repression was stifling. The apparatchiks were corrupt. And Stalin himself was stupid for allowing it all to happen.
Thank you, Yelena. That is exactly what I need to do here.
She had been a colossal fool.
I will have a summary of your statement typed up, and then you can sign it.
The lights shift as Yelena returns to her bunk, and her interrogator exits with the chair.
And she signed it. Her statement was a clear violation of Article 58, Section 10, anti-Soviet and counter-revolutionary propaganda and agitation. She got 5 years. Her statement implicated 3 other people as well. She confessed it all in 10 minutes. And he never once threatened her, not a bit. Sometimes I wonder how much I am like Yelena. I'm not as vain as she is, but my father always protected me from everything. It was kind of a different privilege, but...
Anya, what are you doing?
Galina.
I heard you talking to yourself.
But... no, it must have been someone else.
No, it was you. I saw your lips moving, even in the dark. Who were you talking to?
No one. Forget it. Just go back to sleep.
I know who you were talking to.
What do you mean? Who?
You were talking to God. You were praying, weren't you?
Yes. Yes, I was.
You believe now, don't you?
Yes. Yes, I believe, Galina. You can't tell anyone.
All right, I'll keep your secret.
Thank you, Galina.
But you shouldn't be so shy. Let your light shine. It will bring more people to God.
I'm not ready for that yet. I'm not as strong as you are.
I understand, Anya.
Good night, Galina.
Good night, Anya.
The lights slowly fade out to darkness. Act 2, Scene 3. March 1941. The stage remains immersed in darkness. There is a brief silence, and then the voice of Anya is heard.
March. The beginning of spring.
The lights come up to afford a dim view of Anya awake. The rest lie sleeping in their bunks.
You wait for it for weeks. But early spring is almost as bad as winter. Cold, wet. And in fact, once the snow starts to melt, it's even wetter. Then it turns cold again and it snows some more. Wet, cold, miserable. At least there's more daylight. You wait so long for something to happen, to change. Then when it does, it's not what you expect. A person can imagine what is perfect, what is beautiful, but actually experiencing it, what you imagine, it's almost impossible. There's no perfection in life except for what one imagines. And perhaps the words one can use to describe it. Forgiveness, redemption, love, hope. What are thoughts? What are dreams? Is there any difference between the two? The longer daylight gives us just a little more daytime. In the evening, in the morning, sometimes I wake up earlier than the rest. I can just lay there and think, like now.
The lights slowly rise to a brighter illumination. Daybreak. The women rouse themselves. Katya exits. The others mill about a bit. Katya excitedly enters a moment later, holding a lady's compact mirror.
Look what I've got.
Is that? Where did you get that?
One of the new girls. They didn't find it on her.
Oh, let me see it.
What is it?
It's a mirror.
A mirror?
I haven't seen what I look like for months.
None of us have.
Let me see, Katya.
I have to give it back to her. We can only use it for a few minutes.
Let me see.
They all gather around Katya, who opens the compact mirror and holds it out in front of them all. They clutch at Katya's arm to adjust the angle of the mirror, so that each can see themselves in the mirror.
I can't see myself.
Stop it! Don't push!
Hold it up higher.
Move it over this way.
Here, I'll hold it out further.
Katya holds the mirror out further, and they all gather closer on either side of her and gaze with anticipation towards the mirror.
Is that me?
It's all of us.
What's happened? Why do I look like that?
That's what you look like now.
My face, it's so worn.
My eyes, they're dark underneath.
My hair, it's lifeless, dead.
You're lucky you still have hair. In some camps, they just shave it off your head. Even the women. I've seen them. They don't even look like women anymore.
They all stand for a moment staring in silent dismay at the mirror. Galina is the first one to look away from it, and then Anya and Katya turn away. Katya hands the mirror to Yelena, who takes it and continues to stare into it.
I didn't know that I looked so different.
That's not me. That's not what I look like. Stupid mirror.
Don't blame the mirror.
They all notice Yelena still looking into the mirror.
Yelena, I have to give it back. Yelena!
Give her a minute.
You want it? We could just keep it. The girls knew. She wouldn't give me any trouble. I'm no thief. But if you want it,
No, I don't want it. I never want to see it again.
Yelena hands the mirror to Katya.
all right, I'll give it back. She'll probably let us use it.
I said I never want to see it again.
Fine.
The lights shift. Katya exits momentarily. The other women slowly line up across the stage as Dmitri enters, and Katya joins them a moment later.
Yelena Levchenko,
Da.
Galina Voznoshensky,
Da.
Katya Petrova,
Da.
Anya Drozdova.
Da.
Get to it, Sechkas.
The women cross to one side of the stage and pick up some hand sights, while Dmitri grabs his rifle and follows them. They all then return to center stage.
What are we doing out here? Clearing brush?
Yes, working on the new road.
We already built a road.
Well, now you build another one.
Why?
Think about topography, elevation, the snow melts in the spring, floods the road we made. We don't have an engineer, we didn't know. So now we have to make a different road, one that won't get flooded out. Of course, we'll have to clear the land first.
It's nice to know that we're so needed to do the work.
Work isn't a wolf. You won't run away into the woods. It will always be there.
Now, as to the matter of our wages,
We pretend to work and they pretend to pay us.
we pretend to work and you pretend to guard us.
Watch it, Sechka, you'll find a bullet in your head.
That's a laugh. You couldn't shoot any of us, not even Ludmila. A step to the left,
What are you doing?
a step to the right.
Oh, so cheeky. And look what I got you. 5 years in a labor camp.
I'm not here because I'm rebellious.
Oh no, you're a model Soviet citizen.
That's right. The only difference between us and you is you have a gun.
The lights shift and Dimitri's relatively amused state turns to anger. An NKVD inspector enters, but he is only seen by Katya.
How many times will you challenge me, Petrova? How many?
How many, Katya?
The lights shift, now focusing solely on Katya and the inspector. The rest quietly exit.
How many, Katya? Petrova!
Katya approaches the inspector.
Sir?
How many? What is the number?
5,386.
That's the latest figure.
Yes, as of this morning.
Our numbers are still too low for this month.
We'll have over 5,500 by the end of the week.
That's for the entire district?
Yes.
It's not enough.
We'll have 6,000 by the end of the month. There's still another week.
I understand that, but
6,000 arrests a month. That's what's required.
don't you think I know this?
I don't understand the problem, Comrade Inspector.
6,000 is a quota. It's the minimum number. If you want to look like we're really doing our job, we need to exceed that. Otherwise, we become suspect ourselves.
Oh.
The inspector looks over some files.
Olga has been sentenced?
Olga Kuznetsova?
Yes.
But we had her followed. We watched her for days. She did nothing wrong.
I know.
She didn't even talk to anyone suspicious.
Yes, I read the reports.
Then why was she arrested?
It was just easier to lock her up rather than follow her around everywhere.
I see.
You'll need to finalize the loose ends of her case. She has children?
Yes, I know.
Make sure they remain remanded immediately. I don't want to get any complaints about some crying, screaming children left behind in an apartment.
Her sister has them now.
Just take care of it, Petrova.
Katya begins to leave, then turns around and addresses the inspector.
Inspector, the children are so young. If we could just place them with her sister.
Do I need to quote the directive to you?
No, sir. I just...
The wives of traitors are to be imprisoned, depending on their social danger, to no less than 5 to 8 years. Children from ages 3 to 15 are to be placed in orphanages of the Ministry of Health in other locations. Besides, the sister is suspect too.
She is?
Of course! She knows the perpetrator. We'll need to bring her in for questioning.
Agent Pastukov, he looks back furtively as he approaches the inspector and whispers something in the inspector's ear. They both look at Katya.
What's going on?
Katya Petrova, you will come with me.
Who are you?
I'm Agent Pastukov in KVD.
What is it? What's wrong?
It's your husband. He's been arrested.
That's insane. He's an engineer. He drives a train. What's political about that?
You will come with me now.
No, this is impossible.
Now, Petrova.
I've assisted in the arrest and sentencing of thousands of people. Comrade Inspector, tell him I'm loyal to the party. So is my husband. I'm a good Soviet citizen. I am an agent of state security. I work for the NKVD.
How convenient. No need for a car. You'll just take a walk down the hall.
Katya stands stunned for a moment, and then the agent grabs Katya lightly by the arm and leads her towards offstage. Katya turns around to look at the inspector one last time as she is escorted away. Katya and the agent both exit as the lights fade out. Act 2, Scene 4, April 1941. The stage remains immersed in darkness. There is a brief silence, and then the voice of Anya is heard.
Dear Diary, April.
The sound of a bird singing is heard.
After so many months of snow, cold, and thaw, the whole surface of the earth suddenly comes alive, and nothing can stop it. All through the winter, one longs for warmth, only to be denied the sensation for too long. Now the tide has turned. The sun so bright, shoots of green sprouting everywhere. Buds start to burst, the pleasant scent of plants, a feeling of moisture in the air, and the birds are going mad with their happy little songs every morning. Rebirth, renewal, hope. Spring is here, and we Zechkas can finally shed the dreadful, smelly coats that we've worn all winter long.
Roll call, 5 minutes.
The women rouse themselves. They no longer wear the padded coats or their winter hats.
It's going to be warm today.
Optimist.
I love spring. It's almost time for Easter.
I'm not going to lay any eggs for you, Galina.
Anya, the tree?
Just go by yourself. Hurry.
Galina exits as the other women slowly emerge from the barracks area and form a line across the front of the stage. Dmitri enters, followed by Volkov.
We're too far behind in the quotas. You've got to drive them harder. Discipline. Take advantage of the weather. More daylight equals more work.
Yes, sir. Yelena Levchenko.
Da.
Galina.
Dmitri suddenly notices that Galina is not present.
What's wrong?
Nothing, sir. Katya Petrova.
Da.
Anya Drozdova.
Galina suddenly enters, not seeing Volkov. She runs into him hard.
What?
Galina Vosnoshinsky.
Da.
What is this? You call this discipline. You call this order.
I'm sorry, sir.
That's it. You've disappointed me for the last time. I don't care if it takes months to fill out the paperwork. You are going off to the far north.
Please, sir,
And you, 24 hours in solitary.
He grabs Galina by her arm and forcibly escorts her off stage. Volkov and Galina exit as the rest silently watch them leave. Dmitri looks on helplessly and then looks at Yelena, hoping for some comfort. However, Yelena continues to look straight forward, avoiding his gaze.
let's go.
Anya remains standing in place as the lights shift, and Katya, Yelena, and Dmitri exit.
There was nothing I could have done. There was nothing I could have done.
Sokolov enters with a chair.
Don't bother trying to hide anything. We know everything already.
Sokolov sets the chair down and motions for Anya to approach and sit.
They know everything. They control everything. All of us are all pawns. Pawns in the hands of other pawns.
Anya crosses to the chair and sits.
The spider draws us into the web only to bind us tighter.
You are trying my patience, Anya Drozdova.
I've told you everything I know.
I think you know more than you are telling me. Stand up!
Have you spoken to my father? Has he tried to come see me?
Your father was informed about your arrest weeks ago.
He's an official of the Ministry of Culture.
Yes, I know. Sit down.
He's a member of the party. He knows a lot of people in Moscow.
I'm sure he does.
Please, Inspector Sokolov, I can't take this anymore. I can't stand being in that cell with those people all around me all day and all night. My father, he's an important member of the party. He knows people, members of the Politburo.
Members of the Politburo?
Yes.
Stand up. He's actually met with them.
Yes.
Who? What are their names?
It was a few years ago, just after my mother died.
Their names?
I'm trying to remember. Rakov, Pickering, a couple others.
Alexei Rykov. Nikolai Pickering.
Yes.
What did they discuss?
Everything. Arts, culture, funding for the academies in Moscow and Leningrad.
Political matters?
Yes, I think so. They were very close for a while. Pickering even invited us out for his dacha one summer in 1936.
Your father, Gregor Drozdova, conspired with Pickering and Rykov. That we did not know.
What do you mean, conspired?
You don't read the newspapers?
I'm an art student. I read novels. Why would I care about political matters?
Pickering and Rykov were traitors, Trotskyites. They were tried and executed for treason 2 years ago.
What?
And your father was very close to them.
No, they weren't close. He barely knew them, really. He met lots of government officials. It was a big part of his job. He had to coordinate everything in the ministry with the party and all branches of government.
That's enough for today.
The lights shift and Sokolov takes the chair and exits.
There was nothing I could have done. There was nothing I could have done.
Anya crosses to the barracks area and reclines in her bunk. Katya and Yelena are already there, awake in their bunks. The lights are dim and the sound of frogs croaking in the distant background is heard. It is night.
Maybe Dimitri will sneak her some food?
Maybe.
There was nothing we could have done.
No.
It's just one night. She'll be back tomorrow morning and...
The sound of a woman screaming is heard in the background. It is Galina's scream.
Oh my God.
Galina.
It won't last long.
The lights slowly dim as Galina's screaming continues. The screaming fades to the silence as the lights fade out completely. The lights slowly come up. Anya, Katya, and Yelena are sleeping. Galina enters. She enters the barracks area and drops to the floor. The rest wake up and see her. Galina begins to sob. Katya rushes over to her and hugs her tightly. Yelena joins the hug. Anya watches the three embrace on the floor. She slowly and cautiously crosses to them and joins in the hug as the lights fade out. Act 2, Scene 5, May 1941. The stage remains immersed in darkness. Then the sound of thunder and rain is heard fading in. The rain is heavy, continuous, the thunder intermittent. After a few moments, the sound fades into the background and the voice of Anya is heard.
May 1st, 1941, May Day. What better way to celebrate the revolution than to work as hard as we can?
The sound of thunder and rain is heard, and the lights slowly come up to afford a dim view of the stage. Anya is awake. Galina lies in her bunk, awake and grasping her lanyard tightly. Katya and Yelena are not present.
At least that was the plan. But like so many things in the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, things don't always go as planned. The rain and lightning were too heavy for work today. Thank God for rainstorms. This doesn't happen very often. It really is a holiday.
Galina starts tugging on her lanyard, seemingly to test its strength.
Poor Galina. She says almost nothing, hardly looking at us at all. She works all day in silence, then lays in her bunk, handling her precious lanyard until she falls asleep.
Yelena and Katya enter, shielding their heads from the heavy rain.
There's a lecture today. Is there a meeting in the mess hall?
Really? You want to go to that?
There's a rumor that they'll be giving out extra food.
Along with the lecture, which I doubt will be very interesting.
It's better than just lying around.
Anya looks over at Galina, who is lying in her bunk, examining her lanyard and occasionally pulling it taut.
I think I'd rather stay here.
Suit yourself. They'll be back soon if there's no food.
Katya and Yelena exit. Anya slowly approaches Galina.
Galina? Galina, do you want to talk? Maybe we could pray together?
You should go to the mess hall. Leave me here alone.
Don't you want to pray with me?
God didn't protect me. My road to Calvary.
Didn't you teach me to turn the other cheek? That heaven awaits those who keep the faith? That true believers would suffer on earth?
Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and think, what would happen if the earth stopped turning? Maybe it's already stopped, and we're stuck forever in darkness. But then the dark slowly gives way to light, and I think, the earth hasn't stopped turning. It will always keep spinning around. It will never stop, no matter what happens. Night doesn't last forever. Morning will always come.
You still believe, don't you?
Please, Anya, don't make me talk anymore.
Galina lies back in her bunk and pulls a blanket over her head.
Galina?
Anya moves away from Galina. As she does, the clap of thunder is heard, and then Volkov enters. He sees Anya but does not notice Galina.
Zechka, not going to the lecture.
Anya is startled by Volkov's appearance. She swiftly assumes the inspection position, standing at attention with her arms held high in the air.
Sir, no, sir.
That doesn't reflect well on you.
I'm sorry, I'll go there now.
No.
Is this an inspection?
Every time I walk into the barracks, it's an inspection.
Galina peeks out from her blanket, unnoticed by Volkov.
Yes, sir.
Are you hiding something?
No, sir.
Volkov slowly begins to grope Anya, and Galina watches in horror.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
I think you have something in here for me.
Sir, please.
Maybe I just need to find it.
Galina springs from her bunk and attacks Volkov, screaming as she pounces on him, wrapping the lanyard around his neck and holding it tightly from behind. Volkov is caught off guard and struggles to fight Galina's chokehold. Anya turns around to witness the scene. Galina is furious. Volkov and Galina struggle for a moment, and then Galina manages to get Volkov down on the ground. He is then lying on his back with her behind him, she holding the lanyard taut against his neck as he desperately clutches at the lanyard with both hands in an attempt to keep her from strangling him.
Galina, what are you doing?
Get her off me!
Katya and Yelena enter.
No food, just talk.
Yelena and Katya see Volkov on the ground struggling with Galina.
Galina!
Help me!
Yelena tries to rush to Volkov's aid, but she is grabbed by Anya, who holds Yelena tight as Katya surveys the situation coolly.
Let me go!
Galina? I'm going to kill him!
Help!
Galina, stop!
Get off! I'll have all of you shot!
Volkov and Galina continue their struggle. Anya and Yelena remain entangled with each other. Katya stands alone, still and pensive.
You wouldn't you?
Galina and Volkov continue to struggle, and Katya goes to her bunk and retrieves the rat tail comb. Katya then approaches the Volkov with the comb in her hand, holding the sharp end down.
Katya, what are you doing?
Trembling. Do I have the strength?
Anya, let me go!
Help!
You don't even remember me, do you?
800 Sasquatched!
But I remember.
Help! Help!
Solitary confinement, November 1937.
Katya sits on Volkov, straddling him. Her hand holds the comb steadily over him.
You kill me every such time this cat gets a bullet!
Not if they don't find you.
They'll find me!
No. There's one place they won't look.
Katya raises her hand, holding the comb high in the air, high above Volkov, ready to plunge the sharp end into him. She starts the motion to stab him, just as the lights swiftly fade out and the sound of thunder is heard one last time, and then the sound of the rain fades to silence. Act 2, Scene 6, June 1941. The stage remains immersed in darkness. There is a brief silence, and then the voice of Ludmila is heard.
Comrades,
The lights slowly come up to reveal Ludmila standing on stage, wearing a white shirt and a bright red kerchief around her neck. She also has a small bouquet of flowers connected to a lanyard that rests on her chest just below her kerchief. Her delivery is formal, rhetorical, and dramatic, like the tone of the Soviet propaganda of this era.
our progress continues and is assured. We have come far since the implementation of the first 2 5-year plans, and now we march forward to ever greater heights of achievement.
The other women enter, each holding an implement. Katya holds a hammer, Yelena a hand sickle, Galina a shovel, Anya a pickaxe. They each begin to work furiously.
In our beloved United Union of Soviet Social Republics, increases in production continue to soar. Our list of achievements is endless and grows greater with each passing year. Let the fascists and capitalists continue their senseless war in the West. Let the incessant evils of unbridled decadent imperialism play itself out on the grand stage of history. We leave them behind as we move forward. They will have war and misery. We will have peace and progress.
The other women cease their work motions and approach the front of the stage. Their expressions are serious and reverent, completely out of character for their regular roles. They stand transfixed, their eyes blazing, visually underscoring and reinforcing the nature of Ludmila's message.
We create the new society. We nurture the era of the new Soviet man and woman. We reap the rewards of our labor, the rewards that Marx and Lenin promised in their pursuit of dialectical materialism. The revolution lives. The proletariat cannot be stopped. The low shall rise to the top. It is the progress of history.
Katya and Yelena make their way to downstage center.
Working together, there is nothing that we cannot achieve.
Katya and Yelena then hold up their hammer and sickle implements, each implement crossed with the other, striking a classic Soviet socialist realist pose.
Let us bury the past. To do this, we must acknowledge the failure of the old system.
Katya and Yelena break their pose, and they and the other women retreat from the front of the stage.
Expose the lies. Expose the exploitation and oppression, for it is only by recognizing the failings of our collective history that we can bury the past once and for all. Our future, the future of our people and those around the world who embrace our cause, will shine brighter than any bourgeoisie state ever has.
Ludmila stands for a brief moment as the lights slowly fade out. Ludmila then exits. There is a brief moment of silence, and then the voice of Anya is heard in the dark.
Dear Diary, June 21st, the first day of summer, 1941.
The sound of a bird singing in the background is heard. The lights slowly come up to reveal Anya in her bunk with Katya, Yelena, and Galina nearby, still sleeping.
The new commandant finally arrived yesterday. The first thing he did was instruct us on everything that's forbidden. But he's new. He knows nothing. There's something in his manner that says he's only repeating the words that he was told to say. He has the power of life or death over us, but I doubt that he'll use it much. Certainly not as much as his predecessor. He would never admit it, but he's scared. After all, the previous commandant, he just disappeared. They searched for Volkov for over a month. He just vanished. That doesn't happen very often to officials in that gulag. Transfer? Yes. Suicide? Sometimes. But disappearance? Never.
Galina stirs and begins to rouse herself.
Galina is talking more. The other day, she even smiled at me. I've never had a sibling, but now I feel like she is the closest thing to a sister I will ever have. Sometimes we pray together. All's a religion, it seems like nonsense to me, but she likes to pray, so I pray with her. It's the only thing that she does most of the talking with.
Katya and Yelena begin to awaken and rouse themselves.
It's too much to say that things are good now, but they are better. When things are bad for so long, you wait for something to change, something good to happen, anything to give you hope. But often it seems like it never does. That's what a person needs, a small sign that hope is still alive, that things can change, and that life will somehow get better.
The lights shift and the women mill about a bit.
I should go to the latrine.
So go.
I can't stand the smell.
What did I say about that?
Justice?
Katya looks at Yelena, then Anya suddenly speaks.
There's nothing about this place, nothing about this whole system that's right.
No, it's not justice. There'll be no justice here.
If you can't have justice, you wait, you endure, you outlive injustice.
The strongest ones are the ones who keep living.
Today there's warmth. Today there's food. Today there's peace. But who knows what tomorrow will bring?
Dmitri enters carrying the mail bag.
The mail is here, Zechkas.
Dmitri?
Yes, I'm finally back from search duty. Useless effort. Wandering in the woods, just like every other.
What are you doing here?
Everyone back to their regular duties. That was his first command.
So, no transfer?
Volkov disappeared, and after that, I never heard another mention of it. It's like the transfer papers just disappeared with him. Sometimes things get lost in the mail.
I'm glad.
I haven't seen you since May Day, when you were all outside in the rain.
Oh?
Crazy Zechkas, just standing in the rain with your arms up.
It was cleansing, like taking a shower.
Strange way to celebrate.
That's our business.
Dmitri turns his attention to the mail.
Letters should have been delivered earlier. They got all mixed up. Petrova, Levchenko.
Hurry, Dmitri. I have to go to the latrine.
Ugh, your latrine stinks. I can smell it from 20 meters away. Vosnashensky.
It gets worse when the weather is warm.
It smells awful. Like a dead rat got thrown in there.
All of the women suddenly turn and look at Dmitri.
Time to fill it in. Make a new latrine.
We volunteer.
Volunteer. Commandants will like that. Alright, you know what to do. Break down the lumber, shove it over the old pit, dig a new pit.
We know what to do.
Roll call in 5 minutes. Bring the letters with you.
We will.
Dmitri starts to exit, still sorting through some of the letters. He is about to leave when he stops and looks closely at one of the letters in his hand. He pauses. The women notice him hesitating. He looks up and then addresses Anya.
Drozdova.
Anya is taken back. Dmitri hands the letter to Anya and she slowly begins to remove the letter from the envelope as Dmitri looks on and the other women gather around her supportively.
My dearest daughter.
Anya takes a deep breath and smiles as the other women who smile back at her as the lights slowly fade out. End of play.